Hello, everybody. Welcome to Kentucky Dance Academy's Parent and Family Orientation for our 22-23 dance season. My name is Amanda Whites. I'm the Academy Director, and I'm going to walk you through this whole thing. Before we get started, I do want to say that pretty much all of this information is in your handbook. That's linked in the KDA Family's Google folder. If you ever need to refer to it, it's also on our website. So I'm not going to read every single word on every single slide. I'm going to give you the highlights and all the really important need to know stuff. So our agenda today, we're going to cover dress code, studio culture, financial information, class cancellations and makeup classes, performance opportunities, progression through levels, health and safety, and community building. So dress code. At the end of the day, your teachers are really looking for one thing, and that's to be able to see your body to make sure you're dancing safely. We want you all to feel comfortable and good, and we want to be able to do our jobs and make sure that we are teaching you the best way possible. We also want to be sure that our dancers look the part of pre-professional dancers. We have really excellent training, and we want to be sure that they look like they have excellent training. And it's kind of a bummer, but we do judge people on how they present themselves. And so I want our students to have every opportunity to impress guest teachers and impress other dancers and other teachers and look the part of pre-professional dancers. So safety, comfort, look the part. These are just some highlights of things you might want to know that you might not know coming into the dance world. You don't need underwear under a leotard and tights. Your tights act as your underwear. As you get older, any body changes, and so you might want sports bras and dance belts under your dance clothes. Your hair should be secured back from your face. I know that nobody wants to do that, and it doesn't look cool or stylish and cute. But we don't want your hair in your eyes. We don't want you to mess with your bun during class. We don't want you to have to put your hair up 85 times while you're training. We want your hair up out of your face, and then you don't have to worry about it. Also, for all of these next slides, I'm not going to read through all of the dress code requirements because those are listed. You can look at those on your own time, but I do want to point out that we have female identifying and male identifying because that's kind of the easiest way to split it in the dance world, but we also have non-binary options, and non-binary dancers are free to choose what fits them best and what makes them feel best in their body. Dancers are expected to always follow dress code. Obviously, life happens. So there is not a reason to panic if you jump out of your mom's car and you forgot your dance bag and you don't have your stuff one day. That happens to everybody. It's not a reason to be super upset. The problem comes when there's multiple times that people are out of dress code, and then we want to get to the bottom of that problem. Often, it's a concern regarding modesty or body image or comfort in the recommended dress code. So you can always let's skip that part where you're not in dress code for a while and everybody gets frustrated, and let's go to the part where you just talk to your teacher, because we always want to find a solution with you. There's always something that we can do so your teacher can do their job and see you and acknowledge what they need to do to make sure you're dancing the best you can and you feel good. There's always middle ground. If a dancer is out of dress code twice in a row, that's when we'll start talking to the family to make sure that everybody's on the same page. The family knows what the dancer needs for class. If they don't have it, then we make sure we get it for them. The dancer understands the expectation from the teacher and from their family. And then if there's any issue that's coming up with modesty or body image or whatever it is, then we fix it. So if you're out of dress code twice, then we'll talk to the family and we'll solve that problem. Here's a couple diagrams of how to do a bun. A bun is the #1 choice for pretty much every dance style because it's just up, out of the way, pinned in, won't move, won't fly around. This is an option, but hair comes in different textures. It comes in different lengths and thicknesses. So there's lots of different ways to do a bun. If it's up and it's secure, what we're trying to avoid are our dancers messing with it and readjusting it all the time during class. So however you need to get that to happen, that's fine. It doesn't have to be the most beautiful bun in the world. I'm not going to read through all of these. Youth division dress code, these are the expectations. Pre-professional ballet, this is the one where it's going to be like really on top of leotard and tights for female identifying or non-binary if they choose it. And male identifying should be in solid tee and tank and tights or shorts. Make sure you have ballet shoes or point shoes once you hit that level, and get your hair out of your face. Miss Amanda will lose her mind. Jazz, same idea. You can read through all of these on your own. Contemporary, Miss Brittany is going to talk to you guys about training days and combination days and what that looks like for you all. So you can read through this, and she'll also know she's going to talk to you about that. Tap dress code. Tap gets a little more relaxed, but you absolutely need to have your tap shoes. That's the number one, because you can't hear the sounds that you're making unless you have your tap shoes. Acro, the big thing here that I would like you all to note is jewelry. Don't wear any rings, because it'll hurt your hand or it'll damage the mats. No dangly earrings, or really earrings at all would be ideal, just because they get caught on stuff and they can rip out and that hurts. Necklaces and bracelets can get tangled and twisted and hurt you. And make sure that your clothes they're all nice and form-fitting. So when you're being spotted in acro especially, that you don't get all tangled up and get hurt. Theater dance, pretty much the same as jazz. You can read through that on your own. Hip hop is where it gets a little more relaxed. The thing I would like to bring to your attention is tennis shoes that aren't worn outside preferably. If it's not in the budget or it's not in the cards, that it's understandable. But preferably have a separate pair of dance shoes that are tennis shoes just for hip hop class, so you don't damage the floor and get it really gross. Same for hip hop in the adult class. If you can afford and maintain a pair of tennis shoes just for dance, that's ideal. Ready for class versus not ready for class. I would love, love, love all of our students to come in looking so professional and so sleek, so they look as good as they are. They're so talented. We are moving away from pink ballet shoes and pink ballet tights for our female identifying dancers. These are some resources to kind of explain why that's important. We'll make sure that we talk more about that, but especially in performances, we're moving away from that and moving towards skin tone shoes and skin tone tights. Where can you buy dancewear? We do have a small store upstairs. You are not obligated to use our store. We do have consignment shoes for $5, and that's a pretty big savings. So I recommend checking that out. But otherwise, you aren't required to buy from us. If you're looking to buy and be able to try stuff on, I would recommend Dance Biz in Lexington and Kinney Dancewear in Louisville as your two closest options. Also, obviously, you can buy online. Discount Dance Supply is great. Dancewear Solutions is also great. Studio culture. Being on time is early, being on time is late, and being late is unacceptable. So something I really want to instill in our dancers for their lives as they grow up, as they move on into the larger dance world, or if they choose to never ever dance again in their whole life, I want them to come into any situation prepared. That's what this is all about. Be ready. I also want to give them time to do their social stuff and hang out and get their bodies ready for class. And then when class starts, we're ready to just roll. Studio is for dancing, not for talking, eating, running, swinging, etc. Part of this is safety. Part of this is making cleaning easier. But part of it is we're all here to dance. So let's treat our studio spaces, A, B, and C, as dancing spaces first. This is one I'm really proud of, and something we're going to just keep harping on. We got such positive feedback from all of our guest teachers over the summer and over the past years. Dancers always say thank you to their instructors. That's a huge part of the dance world at large. And feedback that I always get from our guests is how polite our dancers are and how good their etiquette is. So we always say thank you. We always bow or curtsy. It's nice. It's so important. And it's beautiful to see it. This is a big one and one of our kind of driving forces. Dancers follow these rules out of respect. What I hope that we're creating is a situation where our dancers aren't afraid they're going to get in trouble if they don't do some of these things, or if they forget something, or if they, forget to say thank you, or forget their dress code one day. They're doing all of these things out of respect because they respect each other and they respect their teachers, and they respect KDA as an institution, and they respect our space. They do it because we all love to be here. And we love what we're doing, and we love what we've created, and we respect it, not because we don't want to be in trouble. And then perfection is the goal, but mistakes are part of the journey. We are all here to learn. And while we're always pursuing that absolute perfection, the perfect dance, the perfect time on stage, we're going to make mistakes because that's part of being human, and that's part of learning, and that's part of growing. So we embrace making those mistakes because that means we're trying. Financial information, this is some nuts and bolts stuff. This is all listed in the handbook if you ever need to refer to it. Tuition policies, this is just kind of explaining what your tuition is going towards. At the end of the day, we don't want to charge you more than we have to. We want to make sure that dance is affordable. So we don't do withdrawal or registration fees. We don't expect you to sign a yearly contract because things change. So you're not required to do that with us. Our loyalties are with you and with making sure dance is accessible and affordable. Something that's really important to us is making sure our teachers are compensated fairly. The dance world is very notorious for not paying teachers, choreographers, dancers well. So we want to be sure that we're paying our teachers what they deserve to be paid. Your tuition goes towards that. And then making sure that our facility is safe. Our dancers can dance as long as they want to safely without any injuries. And making sure that we have the physical space to dance, the mirrors we need, the bars we need, the acro materials we need, the floors we need. That's part of what your tuition is going to as well. Tuition is calculated by taking the whole year. We're assuming August through May is our dance season, and then counting the number of classes and then dividing it by 10. And that's how we get your tuition number. Some months have fewer classes depending on the day, just based on holiday breaks, days we don't have classes, winter break, whatever. Instead of making every month a different cost, which could be hard to budget and a little confusing, we just take the whole and we divide it by 10. Tuition is due automatically if you enroll through ClassBug, which almost everybody does. It automatically comes out on the first of each month. So you do your first month of tuition at the time of enrollment, whenever that was, and then it's going to be charged again on the first. If you need me to change that, that's really easy to do. Just shoot me an email. For anything financial, always email. If you tell me face-to-face or you tell another instructor and they try to like relay it to me, or you shoot me a text, it can get lost, and I would much rather have a paper trail. Make sure that we're taking care of your money. So anything financial, shoot me an email. Any additional fees that might come up, there is an automatic late fee that kicks in after 5 days. If your card is declined or something happens, that's $25. We don't want to charge you that. So if you know that your tuition is going to be late for some reason, just let us know so we can turn that off for you. There's 3 participation fees that we're going to talk about in more detail in a little bit. But just so you can start budgeting those things, all of these are optional. A participation fee for Hope, September 3rd, the Nutcracker, October 22nd, and Grimm, January 21st. So just to mark those on your calendars. If you ever needed to withdraw for any reason, our expectation when you enroll is that we're anticipating you're going to be with us for the whole season. So August through May, or whenever you enroll through May. Obviously, priorities change, schedules change, things happen. So if you needed to withdraw, we ask you to notify the Academy Director, that's me, Amanda at kydanceacademy.com, with the last date your child attended class or will attend class if you have it. We have attendance books that we can check too. Make sure that's email. Again, it can get lost in translation other ways. Let your other instructors know as well if you have multiple teachers, and then make sure you get confirmation. Just like received, we'll take care of it, and we should be able to give you what that last payment is going to look like, whether we need to refund. If you unexpectedly had to stop mid-month, we can refund the part of the month that you didn't make it. Or if you know in advance you're going to stop at the end of September or whatever, we can stop your payment and make sure that that'll process correctly. There are times that you may need makeup classes or a class may be canceled. really the only reason a class would be canceled would be a weather cancellation, unless there's like a very unexpected emergency. Otherwise, we do get substitute teachers for your instructors. We're not going to cancel class because your teacher can't be there most of the time, pretty much all of the time. Weather cancellations, we generally follow what the county schools are doing. So Franklin County schools are who we look first. We do announce it via social media. We're experimenting with the band app this year as another way to communicate stuff like this, and email. For evening classes, we're going to announce those cancellations by 1 o'clock the day of. For Saturday morning classes, we're going to announce that by 9 p.m. on Friday. So you don't wake up and get ready and be like, oh, there's no dance class. In the event that there's enough bad weather over the season that there's 2 or more classes that fall on the same day for multiple weeks, that it's hard to say this. So if there are days that are canceled more than just once for bad weather, we'll do a makeup class, like a studio-wide makeup class. So if we had 2 Mondays that were canceled for weather during the season, we'll do a makeup class. Usually we're going to try to do those the week of spring break, and we'll announce that before the week of spring break so you know to expect that. You aren't required to attend those makeup classes. That's just so you can get your money's worth. There are times that you're inevitably going to miss a class, and we want to be sure that you have the opportunity to get what you're paying for again. So attending a makeup class is ultimately the responsibility and at the discretion of the family. If you miss a class for some reason, you can always do a makeup class. Generally, what we're going to suggest is that you're going to go up or down an age group or a level. If there's an alternate time for like our tiny twirlers classes, if you're in the Monday class and you miss a Monday, then we're going to suggest you come to a Thursday makeup or a Saturday makeup class, because that's the same age group in the same class. For pre-pro, we'll probably suggest, if you are in level 3, we'll suggest that you go to a level 2 or a level 4 class to make it up. Your teachers and the academy director, me, we can give you an idea of good classes to do. We'll suggest which ones you can use as a makeup, but you don't have to do that. That is just to make sure that you're getting all the training you're paying for. Performance opportunities, fun stuff. This is a big year because we are adding a performance. And so the first thing I want you all to know is that this is a community collaborative performance, and this is not on the scale of like Nutcracker and recital. This is much smaller in scale, but bigger in meaning. So this is going to be called Hope. We're looking at Saturday, October 22nd. This is going to be on the day of the relay and part of the Relay for Life with the American Cancer Society. This is a community collaboration. It is an outdoor event. It's at Capital City Christian Church is where the Relay for Life is going to be this year. They have a big covered pavilion, and that's where the dancing is going to be. This is non-traditional, so it is not the same as when we go to the Grand. It's rooted in community engagement, charitable giving, and arts with purpose. This is a performance with minimal costuming sets and outside rehearsal time. This is supposed to be using our art to do something beautiful in the community and not necessarily putting on this huge stage production. A lot of things kind of worked out this year that allowed us to do this performance. The seed was planted by the dancers, by the students, when I asked them for some ideas of things they would like more of, or things they wanted from the studio that we haven't done before. They pretty much unanimously said they would like a performance dedicated to the non-ballet classes. The way they presented it was, we always get Nutcracker, which is all ballet all the time. And then we get recital, which is everything. Our spring performance is all the things. But it would be really nice to show off how much they learn in all their non-ballet classes as well. And that was a really good argument. They totally swayed me. October also happens to be Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And our acro teacher, Miss Susanna, was recently diagnosed with breast cancer. So we were looking for ways to support her and feel active and in her journey and as her friends and people that love her. And the Relay for Life is also in October, and they were looking for entertainment. So a lot of things worked together to make this happen. So these are This performance specifically is for our non-ballet classes. So the eligible classes for this one are beginning tap, acro, and hip hop, jazz 1 through 6, tap 1 through 6, hip hop 1 through 6, theater dance 1 through 6, contemporary 1 through 6, and pre-professional acro. The participation fee is much lower because this is going to be done in classes as much as possible. And we do not have the expense of theater, and we do not have the expense of costumes. This is due on September 3rd, which comes up really fast. It goes to all the rehearsal incidentals and performance incidentals that we need to cover, and then the KDA Hope t-shirt that we're going to all wear in the performance. All dancers, all levels, $30. There may be some additional Saturday rehearsals that we need to put in there, but that's based on what your instructor thinks they're gonna need. Those are all gonna be announced ASAP following the participation due date. The performance and dress rehearsal all in one day, all October 22nd, dress rehearsal at 2, and the performance at 7. So this is our first year doing this. Something new, something exciting. We'll see what happens. The Nutcracker is one we all know and love. This year we are looking at December 16th and 17th, with dress rehearsals the 14th and 15th. The Nutcracker is optional, just like Hope is optional as well. The Nutcracker is optional. Participation fee for the Nutcracker is due on October 22nd, and that covers all the stuff that you're going to need. So costume, rehearsals, theater rental, props and scenery, other incidental costs, all that stuff. It is a little bit more expensive because we do rehearse this outside of class because it is optional. Me and my grown-up and special needs dance class, it's $60 because we will do those rehearsals in class because me and my grown-up kids are so young, and special needs dance do better in class. Youth division, so tiny twirlers and beginning dance is going to be $80. Pre-professional division is $90. All of these rehearsals, other than the ones that are happening in class for me and my grown-up and special needs dance, will take place on Saturdays from October 29th through December 10th, except for the weekend of Thanksgiving, since people travel. Sometimes we're going to rehearse in our pre-professional ballet classes, but that's only if everybody in that class is participating in Nutcracker. We're not going to exclude anybody. Rehearsals are usually about half an hour to 2 hours in length. It depends on your casting. All of your rehearsal schedules, including dress rehearsal schedules and casting, all of that is going to be announced on or before October 24th. I went ahead and scheduled 2 days of dress rehearsal and 2 days of performances because we will inevitably have 2 casts. And we're going to talk more in detail about that, but just keep that in your head when you're looking at those 4 days. Realistically, especially for a youth division, you're probably only going to be needed for one of those dress rehearsal days, and then you'll do half of the public performances so your kid's not totally wiped out. Grimm is going to be our spring performance. We're going to base it on Grimm's fairy tales, and we're going to kind of mash those up in a really cool and interesting way, probably. It will be in April of 2023. We do not have those dates set yet. The Grand likes to set their spring guests coming in, like traveling bands and performances and stuff, and then let us know what dates are available. Usually it ends up being mid-April, but we really try to avoid May between like Derby and school events and prom and graduation and all of that. This is a full studio performance. Every class has a piece in it. It is still optional. You do not have to do it, but if you choose not to do it, know that some of your class time is going to be devoted to rehearsals. There's nothing wrong with not being in the performance, but we just don't want anybody to feel weird when you're rehearsing a piece you're not going to do on a stage. The participation fees are a little bit lower since we don't have those extra Saturday rehearsals. $60 for youth division for your initial or your only class, and then $40 for each additional class. And then same thing for pre-pro, 70 for your initial or only class and 50 for each additional class. All rehearsals are in your usual class times. There are occasionally some extra Saturday rehearsals, or sometimes some of our older dancers will come to some of the younger dancers' class times if they have some sort of interaction with the main character usually. Anything that you need to know, all of your casting and any additional rehearsals, dress rehearsal, show day performances, all of that will be announced on or before January Rehearsal attendance policy. At the end of the day, if you are committing to performing, you're committing to rehearsing. So we need an 80% attendance rate. If for some reason your dancer dips below that, we will reach out to you and we might suggest extra rehearsals to make sure they feel confident enough to go on stage and do what they need to do. You also, if your dancer is struggling with something or they're just not feeling 100% about something, we can schedule private and semi-private lessons with your instructor at any time in the rehearsal process. We want our dancers to feel comfortable and confident when they go on stage, and we want to give them the time that they need to be able to do that. Performance withdrawal. If you needed to withdraw from a performance, you essentially follow the same steps you would if you were withdrawing from classes. The catch with this is if you have paid the performance fee, most of that is going to go to costumes. And so if we've already ordered the costume, we can't refund a lot of that money because we can't return the costumes to the costume companies. So don't count on getting your full participation fee back. We will give you as much as we can. Let us know first and foremost so we can make sure all of the instructors know, all the choreographers know, and then we'll work through the financial stuff with you. It's harder to withdraw from a performance than just withdraw from class on the performance itself and on your teachers and on the other dancers. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, this doesn't apply to severe illnesses or hospitalizations, personal emergencies, family emergencies, any of that stuff. You just let us know and we're not going to penalize you for having an emergency situation. Progression through levels. This is mostly for our pre-pro dancers, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time on all of this stuff, but just to give you some tools so you kind of know what to expect and how we judge the levels and who is progressing through the levels. Youth division, pretty much it is based on your age. We're going to look at some cognitive developmental milestones and make sure you're hitting those. But basically it's age and making sure that you stay on track with your ages as you progress through those levels. Pre-pro is where it starts to change. That's when we're starting to look for mastery of skills and comprehension of concepts. There is nothing wrong with spending multiple years in the same level. The way I explain it to the kids is we only have 6 levels and you're probably going to dance for more than 6 years if you are entering level 1 at age 8. So it is supposed to take you some time to make it through every single level. You're not bad or wrong for spending a couple of years in level 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. The way we're judging that, we are sharing all of our curricula. You can look through everything your kids can learn in class. We want to make sure that everybody can understand it. So our students know, our teachers know, and our dancers know what the expectations are. You can look at the curricula and kind of see what you're going to learn, what you're learning, what you have learned in the past, all of that stuff and how that's going to continue and how that's going to help you progress through the levels. You need all of these concepts and all of these skills to be able to move on safely. Without a proper foundation, there can be gaps in your knowledge, and that can grow into frustration when you feel like you can't do things because you just don't have all the pieces to be able to do it yet. Misunderstandings of how to do things safely and technically correctly, and then potentially injuries. And so we're trying to avoid all of that stuff by being really particular about what skills we're mastering every level. Again, we openly share all of our curricula. You can see everything we teach. You can refer to this at any time. We have it printed out. We have it on the website. We have it, we'll make sure it's linked in your KDA Families Google folder. Your teachers will talk to you about it. Like, none of this is secret. We want you to know what you're trying to do, right? You want the end goal and how we're going to get there. We started doing evaluations last season. We did one evaluation in all of our beginning dance classes through the whole pre-professional level. The feedback we got mostly was really, really positive. I think people really appreciated it. But actually, we got requests for more evaluations. So this year, we're going to try doing an evaluation before winter break and then an evaluation at the end of the spring semester to let you see how you're progressing. Evaluations include all the steps and concepts and goals we're working on, and then each instructor's assessment of how the student is doing. So especially in these classes, as they grow and as we grow as a studio and we have more and more students, this is a great opportunity for us teachers to be able to give everybody personalized feedback. Sometimes in a class of 20 kids, you don't get to say everything you want to say. And it's so nice to be able to sit down and really reflect on what this dancer is just nailing and what they're doing so well and what they need to work on and how we can keep working together. So I loved it as a teacher. I think all the teachers really liked having that reflection time, even though it's a ton of work. And something that I believe really, really strongly and that all of our teachers believe, there's very few times that we need to tell a student what they're not doing well. They already know if they're not doing something well enough or if they're struggling with something. They already know that. What we do have to tell them is when they're doing something really well. Sometimes it's hard for them to acknowledge what they're good at. So this is a great opportunity not only to give them feedback on like what we're going to strengthen, but also what you're already doing so well. Point work is a big one. This is something I'm going to speak about specifically with level 3 all year long. But level 3 is when we get our point shoes. What you families need to know is that we take it really seriously. So we're spending a ton of the year inside and outside of class time strengthening, making sure our bodies are prepared for point work so there's no injuries. We also have a physical therapist come in for a screening to make sure there's no red flags on potential injuries coming up. And then we also have doctors that we can reach out to following that screening if we have any concerns. We take it seriously because it matters and because we want our dancers to be safe. There are times that following an injury or a break from dance that we might pull you off point until you get strong again. And it's not a punishment, it's because we want your body to be safe. So that's just something to keep in mind. Audition requirements is something we're going to start implementing again with COVID. It was a little bit tricky. We require all the level 4 through 6 dancers to go to an audition for something. Usually that's a summer intensive, a summer camp, a competitive team, something. And we encourage everybody that's old enough to audition for something to audition. We'll prep people for it. We'll give you ideas of some good auditions to go to. We can provide financial aid. We can provide transportation help, all of the stuff that you need to do. But the more we practice auditioning, the better we're going to get at it. And this is directly correlated to like job interviews, college interviews, all of this stuff is going to happen regardless of whether you're a professional dancer or not. But on that same token, we do have some dancers that can't audition. Maybe they have anxiety. We're not in a place that we're ready to push through and kind of work through together. Maybe their family is not comfortable with them attending an audition in a different city and potentially dancing somewhere else in the summer. Maybe there's a medical issue, an injury, or something else that comes up that prevents an audition. That's totally fine. So instead of an audition, if for some reason our dancers aren't able to do that, go see a live performance and write a critical review. So you still get that experience and you go out in the dance world and you see some potential and you see some pathways for yourself and see the larger dance world, but you don't have to do it in the form of an audition. Summer classes and intensives, kind of what I alluded to before. Dancing in the summer is super important. There's camps and intensives everywhere. Every city in the US probably has a dance intensive. We have intensives here. There's also a ton of local schools that have them. There's also big name ones internationally and across the country. But the thing that's really important for families and dancers to know is that dancers who have their point shoes, so level 3A through 6, have to dance in the summer. And that's not for any other reason other than safety. You have to maintain your strength and your flexibility and your endurance to be able to dance on point in the Nutcracker. So if you don't dance in the summer, you're not going to be on point in the Nutcracker. You might be pulled off point until you get your strength back, until you take some classes and get back into it. But I want to be really clear and upfront about that because that's the way it works. Is if you're not dancing in the summer, then you're not going to be on point in the Nutcracker because you're just not going to be strong enough and safe enough. There's lots of ways to meet that requirement, and we'll talk about that as we get closer to summer at the end of this dance season. Private lessons. There are times in dance training that you may request a private lesson if you're struggling with a concept or you feel like you need a little extra attention. You want to be sure that you're mastering some choreography. You're prepping for an audition that you're nervous about, or you're auditioning to go to a big school or whatever it is. You're never required to do private lessons, but there are times you might choose to. You can schedule those with any of your instructors. It's totally based on their schedule. They set their rate. A general would be like $30 to $50 an hour is usually pretty typical for private one-on-one coaching or lessons. Most private lessons are between 30 and 90 minutes. It kind of depends on what you're doing, what you're working on, and the instructor and the dancer in question. And just so it's totally transparent, KDA, the facility is never charged to the teacher. So anything you are paying the instructor goes directly to them, and you all handle that. Guest teachers and workshops. Some of the feedback I got from some of our older students in particular was having more opportunities with more guest teachers during the whole year and not just in the summer, which was great. I love hearing that, and I love finding people to bring in. So guest teachers and workshops are important to instill versatility, novelty, and variation in a dancer's training work. The goal that I've set for the studio is to have one guest instructor for special classes once a month. We'll see how we do. Might as well set a big goal. And just to kind of assuage any fears that dancers and parents might have, we've developed a pretty stringent interview process for all of our guests. They have to do an in-person or like via Zoom email interview with me. We talk about not only their training to make sure they are well-trained and knowledgeable and know what they're coming in to teach, and I read through their resume and we talk through their experience and where they've trained and where they've taught before. But also we talk about philosophy of how we teach. And we are very clear about what we do here and what is important to us and how we support and love our dancers and create a really healthy environment for them and make sure that they're going to align with that and there's not going to be any conflicts there. So we want to make sure that our dancers are always safe and supported and encouraged. Health and safety on that note, COVID-19 will never go away, so we're going to keep talking about it. It's constantly evolving. We have no way to know what's going to happen. We're gonna stay up to date, whatever the recommendations and the requirements and the procedures are for the state that are recommended to dance studios, then we'll do them. Right now, we don't have it, so we're in good shape right now. Our studio is really diverse. So something to keep in mind throughout the season is that we have a ton of different school districts and counties and cities and communities coming together in this building. And so we have to make decisions that are going to keep all of those separate groups safe. So it makes it a little complicated. Right now, masks are optional for everybody. Obviously, that can change. I don't anticipate it changing, but at any time that you feel a little icky or worried, or come flu season or coming up on a performance, if numbers spike or whatever, just know there's an option that mask requirement could come back. Right now, it is optional. And if you feel better in a mask, please wear one because there's a lot of people. After you enrolled, you should have received a liability waiver and media release form. The liability waiver is pretty standard for all after school stuff. It's for our insurance and it's necessary for everybody. You should have had a DocuSign link to this. And then for the media release, there's two options. Both are totally fine. You can release your child's image for promotional and media stuff, or you cannot. Either one is totally fine. We just want to make sure that we're honoring every family's individual privacy needs and preferences. If you haven't gotten this link, then let me know. Shoot me an email at amanda@kydanceacademy.com and I'll make sure that you get it, or we can have a hard copy for you in the studio. But those are both really important things that we want to make sure we have for every dancer. Oh, the fun stuff. I left it for last. Community building. Studio communication. This is how the studio is going to tell you what you need to know. Definitely expect a weekly update email every Friday is usually when I do that throughout the dance season. And this has announcements and reminders and upcoming dates if we have any classes off or if we have any big events or due dates for participation fees or whatever. We use the email automatically on file that we have when you've registered your dancer. We can add an unlimited number of additional emails. So if you want your spouse or your dancer's other parents to have access to all these emails, that's fine. Or grandma or grandpa, whoever brings them to dance, just send me any emails that you want added to that list. We're also branching out into the band app as a way to get out announcements quickly and not just via email. So bear with us. I am still learning how to do that because I'm kind of a grandma with technology. We also utilize a Google folder, and I've referred to it a couple times. That's linked a bunch of places, but I'll make sure if you don't know where that is, I will send it to you again. That's something we're going to update throughout the year. The KDA Families folder will have what's important for whatever season it is. So right now, it has like schedules and it has our handbook and our calendar, and it has some stuff about a workshop that's coming up. As that changes and as kind of different events are happening, we'll update and adjust that as we need to. And then additionally, we're going to have folders for each performance for those dancers that are participating. So you have all of your schedules, all of your casting information, all of your costume information, all of that stuff in one folder. We're trying something new this year, especially with COVID. It's been really hard for families to connect with one another. And so this seems like maybe a way we can do that. It's in that KDA Family shared folder. It's a list of all the dancers that are in each class. And then beneath each dancer, there's a space and it's editable and fillable on your end where you can put a like a guardian contact name and number and email if you choose to. None of this is required. This might be nice to help people coordinate carpools. If you notice a kid that's in school with your kid during the day and is in the same dance class, maybe you can find an opportunity for carpooling. It's also a great way that you can meet other parents and families. So you know them before performance time when there's backstage volunteers in charge of your child. Also, it might be nice. A lot of people ask for contact lists for like birthday party invitations, and this is just an easier way to get all of that information. Again, you're not required to do this. It's just a nice opportunity, and only people enrolled in KDA can see it. It's a private document within the studio. There are opportunities to volunteer with us. To be clear, you're already sharing your kids with us. We don't need anything else. You've done your part. Like that's the greatest gift you could give us teachers. But if you do like volunteering, we always need people at performance time. So backstage volunteers that are with the dancers backstage, front of house people that are like ushers and ticket takers and all of that stuff. We have digital signups for those as we get closer to performance time. If you have another skill that you think would be maybe useful in the studio for some reason, if you're a photographer or you do marketing or graphic design or something, let us know if you want to volunteer those services and we can look for ways to employ you if we can do that, or do a tuition exchange to make dance a little cheaper because who doesn't like that? But we love knowing all these talents that our families have and that if you wanted to share them with us. If you're not really a volunteer type and you don't like that, but you want to contribute in another way, we have an Amazon wish list now with some items that we can use in the studio. And you're always welcome and encouraged to replenish the snacks in the dancer lounge. We try to keep like little quick snacks like granola bars and fruit snacks and stuff for dancers between classes, or if they jump out of the car and realize they didn't have a snack after school and they're going to be really hungry. So if you're at Sam's Club and you see a big box of granola bars and you want to grab them for the studio, we always appreciate that. But again, you're already sharing your kid with us. So that's more than enough. You don't have to do anything else. And then just to give you a heads up, we have a big workshop that's full studio coming up with Ashley Mowry, and that's going to be in August. August 27th is the date. And in the Google folder, that KDA Families folder, we have that full schedule and then a sign up. It's for dancers and it's for families. Dancers ages 8+ are eligible for it. And all the families of dancers of all ages are eligible. We'd love everybody to attend. Our oldest dancers, so levels 3 through 6, are required to attend. You can see our extended work if you click that link, and I'll email that out to everybody and make sure we're sharing it. She specifically works with dancers on encouraging healthy mindsets and healthy relationships with one another and with the studio and with dance and with themselves. So stuff that's really important to instill in our dancers as they grow. We're keeping it affordable. Each workshop is $5 per family or $5 per dancer. $5 for the family workshop, where it's specifically geared to like parents of dancers, and $5 a dancer for any of those workshops that we're doing that day. These are things we're going to start implementing through the year. So if you're joining later in the year and you missed this, we will catch you up and we'll give you all the tools that you need going forward. But I'm obviously super excited about this. Oh my gosh, we did it. So questions, comments, concerns, always reach out. Number one thing you can do is ask if you have a question, or let me know if there's something we can do better, or if you're worried about something, just communicate. My number is listed on everything, 502-226-0798. My email is amanda@kydanceacademy.com. I run the social media pages, so you can shoot a message there, but really anything you need, there's no such thing as a stupid question. And anything that I can help you figure out about the dance world, that's what we want to do. But we are so excited for the dance season and so excited for you. And we are ready to see you in the studio soon.